die, and then you need to be born again.
Willie and Korie, it's so good to get some time with you again. How are we doing?
Doing great.
Hey there, we're good. Thanks for having us.
The time is getting so close. The movie about to finally come out. I've seen it twice. I'm absolutely in love with it. What I love most is I think fans who are diehard fans of Duck Dynasty are going to love it. There's all these little Easter eggs in it. I feel like that, even as kids, you're going to go, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then people that don't know anything about the family, I think, are going to love this movie. It's such an opportunity to share this redemption story.
Yeah, we're really, really excited about the way it came out. I think it's a beautiful film. It looks beautiful. And it's a period piece. It goes through like 50s, 60s, 70s, up to 80s, I guess. No, 70s. Willie, yeah, because you're 2. Willie's 2 in the film, so 70s, yeah. Actually, speaking of Easter eggs, that's one of the fun little Easter eggs. Our grandson, John Shepherd, got to play Willie at 2 in the movie, which is so fun. And we didn't plan that at all, of course. I mean, we casted actors and everything, but we needed a 2-year-old to play Willie. And we were like, well, we actually happen to have one. So anyway, we're really, really excited for people to see it. But even more than, how beautifully done it is and all that. The story, a Phil and Kay's story, is just such a powerful one. And we've known that forever because of the way it touches people's lives as they share it. They've written it in books. They've told their story over the years. And it's so powerful because it's this message of redemption and hope, and that there's nobody that's too far gone for the love of Jesus. And the way whenever Jesus came into the story of the Robertson family, everything changed, and it truly did. And, you can look at somebody's life and see, a family that like loves each other and sits around the dinner table together and have these, thoughts of like, oh, their life must just be perfect. But that's actually not the case. Like the Robertson family has been through some really hard times and some things that, there was a moment where it all felt lost. It felt like we would not be together. We would not be sitting here today, but for Jesus coming into their life, and that changed everything.
I had a chance to talk with Andrew, who worked on the film, directed the film, and he was telling me that the script, the original, the first one, was not as raw and not as kind of gritty and sharing really the truth of what happened. Talk about that process if you can, Willie, about, because I'd imagine your family is so out in the open and in the public, but this is a whole new level of kind of pulling the curtain back this far and really showing there are some dark moments, which I want to say this is why the movie is PG-13. I think even little ones, I have little ones in our family that love your family. And I think we need to make sure that kids know that there's going to be some tough stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That was one of the things that we were, at least I was trying to wrap my mind around, was that Duck Dynasty is a show about kind of the aftermath of coming through all that. There's a lot of joy, a lot of laughter, a lot of these just fun. Yeah, I think over time we have fun with each other and laugh, and then but this is a completely different look at it. Really, there's the appreciation there to know that, just an appreciation that we came through that, especially mom and dad came through that dark time in their life. Had that not happened, there wouldn't have been a Duck Dynasty show. And so, but we wanted to go back and show, like, really what it was like, and it could have went either way. The marriage could have just busted up. It certainly was. That was the path it was on. And that's why I get asked a lot, like how do you keep your faith, or how do you show it, or how are you bold about it? And it's because there is an appreciation of, we almost lost everything without it. And once that came into their lives, it changed their lives completely. And so we've seen the good side of that, and mom and dad certainly saw the bad side of that. Me a little bit, because I was really young, but my older brothers for sure even saw that, that raw lifestyle that they were living, especially Phil. And it was so not positive. And so, trying to make that, in a script, I mean, frankly, we had to tone more of that back. It was just so bad and so dark. You're talking about some major problems here, that they were living out. And so trying to make that palatable for an audience, especially one that, it is a show about faith. And so that was the tricky part. We definitely went through a lot of stuff with the script, which is actually, I call it a script, but it's actually just literally what they've said. Like it's at the beginning, it said, this is a true story. Like it's not based on it. This is pretty much the words from their mouths. Unfortunately, doing it at this time where mom and dad are still alive, and a lot of the people are still alive that can share their experiences. And then with Duck Dynasty coming out and being so popular, we were able to film even some people that's passed away. The pastor, my dad's sister, who were very key parts of this movie, who have passed on, but because of the fame of the TV show, they were able to record a lot of stuff just through church and through other things. Before they passed. So we actually got their perspective on it as well.
Oh, I want you to brag on the cast. We're not able to talk with them at the moment, but man, the casting is brilliant. I just feel like they, and again, that's where those like little Easter eggs come in, where like, oh wait, no, that is like how they sound and how they would have talked. I feel like in the earlier years, I'd imagine the family just has to be super excited about it because as a fan, you watch and you go, they nailed it.
Yeah, they did. They really went all in. And it was really special. We actually had a big crawfish bowl in Louisiana. We love crawfish. So we had a crawfish bowl and invited a lot of the main cast members here with the family. So they could just sit down and really just talk one-on-one and ask the questions to, Phil. It was neat to see Phil talking to Phil, and Kay talking to Kay and Sai talking to Sai, and just getting to hear them ask the questions and really go deep. And even the guy who played Pastor Bill, who's a integral part in the family story, just got to ask questions and we got to talk. So they just did a fantastic job and went all in. And like Willie mentioned with Phil and Kay, we were able to record them tell their story. And so a lot of the lines are just directly Phil and Kay's words, and so the actors were able to, the guy who played Phil, his name's Aaron, he was just amazing. He listened to Phil's voice and his inflection and just did a fantastic job of getting it right. The actor that plays Phil and the one who plays Kay as adults, Amelia and Aaron, they're both British. And so their accents, we were like, oh, how are they going to get it? Are they going to get it right? And one of the times, I remember Aaron called a mallard duck a mallard, and we were like, oh no.
Don't let Phil see that.
Yeah, oh no, we got to get that right. But they just did a fantastic job.
It was also
really happy about it.
Yeah, also cool that they got to. So we had 3 different actors playing both, and so we see Phil, Kay, and Sai, and especially Sai. That's the one that cracks me up. Is just kind of figuring out what and I think a lot of people look at Uncle Sai as he is a very mature adult at this point. What was he like as a kid? And so seeing that was neat, and then them as teenagers during college and playing football, and then as they go on to be an adult. So that's kind of cool to see that. And I thought all of them did have their ways of and the look of being able to portray that and that it being believable. They really did amazing.
I wanted to get your take here before we close on kind of your take at marriage, because, and I feel like similar with faith journeys, I mean, there's so much that we can learn from our parents and watching them. But then yet our faith testimonies still have to be our own, right? Like you can't have that just because mom and dad, the redemption story they had.
Absolutely. I think, Kay has said this to us ever since, and we put it in the film as well, that her nanny told her that one day you're going to have to fight for your marriage. And so it prepared her for that moment. And she's told us that as well. And so, just seeing their example of actually true repentance and true forgiveness, and understanding that there's going to be times in your marriage that you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to repent. You're going to have to forgive. And seeing that example has been a powerful testimony to us. And when those hard times have come in our life, and realizing that like, oh, they did that. And what they did was such a gift to us, because now we have a legacy. We have generation upon generation. And so we want to offer that gift to our kids. So it helps us to not give up, when those tough times come, to fight for our marriage, to fight through those things and turn back towards one another, because we saw them do it and we saw the gift and the blessing that has been to our family.
Yeah, and I think certainly, I've witnessed their faith, played out, very authentic. Saw them have a passion for the Lord, but a passion for other people. I remember thinking like, man, my testimony's not near as cool as Dad's, because he can, look at this story, where he's like, it's so crazy, and then he has this like almost biblical Saul to the Apostle Paul moment where he changes, but I'm glad it did. I'm glad I didn't have to walk those roads to do that, and I'm glad that, I don't have to go, oh boy, I was almost in jail and I almost lost everything, but I think the basic natures were, like Korie said, repent or change, change things in your life and forgive. Those are so common even outside of faith. That that happens at work, that happens in marriages, that happens with children, where at times we have to change and then we have to forgive, and things can get better. And so that's as it all boils down to it, that's what it was. And I think they didn't have really the reference point for that with having no faith. They just didn't have that reference point. And so when the pastor tells them about that and tells them how Jesus came down and he can help and provide this, and that's what they needed. I mean, it's probably the only thing that was going to help their marriage at the time, was specifically that message, and then to yield to it.
I'm just so excited for people to finally see this. I'll give you guys kind of the last word, invite people out. It's so important that people go ahead and buy tickets now and see this in the theater. I just can't say it enough. We're going to try really hard to get that message out as well. But I'll let you guys have the last word and invite people out to see this wonderful story. As hard as some parts are to watch, there's so much joy and, like you said, redemption that it's just exciting to watch.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. September 28th is when it comes out, and you can go to theblindmovie.com. And what you said about going opening weekend, buying tickets early. We are an independent film. Like, we produced this movie through Tread Lively Productions, our production company ourselves. And so it's a little scary, a little intimidating to like go out there with your family story. And so, but we just are so grateful for all the people who have watched our show and supported our family and prayed for our family through the years. And we're just excited to see people show up. It really matters that you show up opening weekend. The more people that are there on that first night, the more theaters we get into, the longer it can be out, and the more people can see it. And really, we just feel like it's such a great opportunity for people to share the gospel with somebody else. Somebody that you might want to invite to church or invite to something that you're like, oh, I don't know if they'll come to church with me. Invite them to a movie and go sit there. And it's just, they can see the gospel on display on the big screen, which we're really excited about.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to complain about perhaps movies or television and stuff that's not positive, stuff that's not family friendly, and we certainly have a lot of that. So it's easy to complain. It's the challenge is to actually go support things that come out, and so to go out there and support that and say, hey, because you'll make a statement by buying your ticket. We certainly saw that during Duck Dynasty. So many people watched it. It made a statement to Hollywood and everyone else, like going, what is this? And it ended with a prayer, and it had these things that you typically, rarely, if ever, saw on television, especially nowadays. And so it really does make that impact. And the more we can support films like this and television, the more that they'll be made, and they'll be supported. So yeah, we need everybody to really support and check it out, and hopefully it'll be a huge success. It already is. I don't know how many people watch it, but it's been successful already. Just showing that story and having that to where for generations to come, people can see that.
I have no doubt it's going to change lives, and it's going to change other directions for families as well, just like it did for yours. So we'll be praying for that it continues and can be that blessing for many, many families to come.
Thank you.
Thank you.